Easily one of the most exciting artists that I found in 2019 was SCJ. He put out a great album, a fantastic album of blends of hardcore breaks, even footwork, juke, house music, all kinds of stuff combined into one to make one of the most exhilarating listening experiences of 2019, to the point where I couldn't help myself by including it in the 2010s decade list too, because it just really was that good. And it's quite a bold thing to do something like that, especially considering I'd only found the album late in 2019, so to put it on a decade list seems a bit risky, but honestly, a year later, and that album remains where it was, maybe even higher on that list if I were to do it again, because it keeps bringing me life whenever I listen to it. It's such a great listen. There are some really cool, recognizable samples thrown in throughout. There was bloody Animal Collective. I think there was Nirvana at one point, and then there was also Craig David. And even without those samples, the entire thing just knocked the fuck out of you. So of course, I'm excited wherever SCJ goes from here now. Any release that gets put out, I'm going to be on top of. I'm going to be checking them out, because that album is just too good to ignore anything else from this guy's career. And it truly wasn't a letdown. I'm sure it's not quite as good as the album, but I do think it's very difficult to make that comparison, because Escapism was very good, so to make, you know, comparisons like that is a bit unfair. But once again, you're getting an extension of what SCJ was doing on Escapism here. It's a very familiar sound, and it's equally as exciting and as gripping. This time around, it's definitely shorter, obviously, and maybe a bit more variation. You can tell it's an EP, whereas the album, you know, flowed really well, where every track was even like flowing into one another, like segueing seamlessly into one another, whereas this EP seems a bit more like maybe try something a bit different, even with the Escapism remix. It's a stripped back version of the track that we got on the album. There's not the intense vocals or the intense drumming that come through on that track. The go hard, go hard, go hard, go hard is not here this time. Is also not here. It's a little bit more, I guess, dreamier in its sound, and I've noticed a couple of tracks try that a bit more here too, like the closing track on this EP seems like something maybe Against All Logic would do, also known as Nicholas Jar, maybe in a more like, I guess, somber type piano-led house track. I mean, it's not fully house, this isn't a full-on house track, but I sort of feel like it's got the building blocks of something that Nicholas Jar would do, even maybe in his actual Nicholas Jar work. But there are some tracks that are just more inviting in their general sound. I mean, there isn't like that intense breakout that you get on the album, which I'm all for actually, because I do think that the tracks here are really quite good. You've once again got a really well incorporated sample on the opening track, Go Viral. As soon as it started, I was like, yeah, this is going to be so good, because you've got Sicko Mode, well, the opening part of Sicko Mode, Drake's section, being twisted and chopped and sampled, and it just sounds so great. Like, you know, when you hear a sample and you have nothing bad to say about it, or you can't even describe it, because the person that's just decided to put this in their own track and try and manipulate it and twist it clearly knew what they were doing, and a critic or a reviewer or someone trying to describe it is just not doing it justice at all. You can just tell that this person knows exactly how to incorporate these kinds of samples. There are just some artists that know exactly what they're doing with this stuff, and SCJ really deserves to be in that conversation, because this sounds so good. Like, it's like sort of like a sports anthem. It's sort of like something you'd hear at an ice hockey game, or even like a basketball game or something, like the way that the energy is just risen to like 150% here. Similar to that is Not Gonna Get Us, where once again you've got those vocals that are chanting and repeated over and over again. They're not gonna get us, they're not gonna get us, they're not gonna get us. Definitely the hardest hitting track here, and once again reminding me of some of the best moments of the album, Escapism. I like Gone and Busted with the repeated loop. That sounds like something that you'd get on a Shinichiro Yokota album. It's sort of like a manipulated version of one of his really, truly great house tracks. It's got this really nice, calm vibe to it. I feel like you could groove along to this, honestly, even if you've never listened to anything SGJ has done before. There's no reason why this or any of the other tracks on this EP wouldn't appeal to you. Not a huge amount to say other than that I've already said, really. It's one of the highlights in EPs for 2020. I've been hearing a lot of great EPs recently, to be fair, and this is up there with the best too. So yeah, I mean, SCJ, one of the most talented artists in the electronic field that I've discovered recently, and hopefully this EP draws a bit more attention onto what he's doing, because it's fantastic. He really needs to break out now, because he just needs that spotlight on him, because he really is putting out such great music. So hopefully you like this, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do. Let me know your thoughts. Check out previous work from SCJ too. I'm sure you'll enjoy that as well. Thank you for watching this review. Hopefully you have a good day. Subscribe if you haven't already for more reviews, more recommendations like this. Have a good day, and yeah, goodbye.